Hello, hello. The month of September just ended about 13 hours ago, and it's time for me to make a reflection video. I've committed to making these every month on the updates, mistakes, learning lessons from the month whenever it's ended, and then talking about the goals and focus for next month. So, with that said, let's dive right in. September was an incredibly good month for our company, but also for my happiness, growth, and personal well being. I would say that September was the month where 4 months of rebuilding, repairing, and working head down without any reward finally came to a base where things came together. Things really came together well. And I'm so grateful for that because I knew that this month was gonna come. I didn't know if it was gonna be August, if it was gonna be September, if it was gonna be December, or when it was gonna be. But I'm happy about all the things that happened in September. So some of the things that happened is we signed 9 clients. We got 2 clients. We changed our offer to. I'm not gonna go super in depth on the offer, but to being more money upfront, and we had an average ticket of over 6K upfront, and we had 2 people prepay for 14,000, so that was quite a big win. Our net profit margin went from being 6% the month prior, 6%, horrible, to being 40% this month. So that was a, what's that? That's like a 7, 8x ROI. So quite a big jump. And 40% profit margins is really healthy, especially in a growth phase. So that was good. I know that that's gonna shrink slightly when we scale up marketing, but I also hope that it's gonna increase when we can pay our PSMs slightly less and have more company efficiency. Then this was the best month in both revenue and profit since the month where I lost it all. So, if you know anything about my story, I lost everything in May. I went from doing 500,000 to being 150,000 in debt, and I have rebuilt from them. But this is the best month since then, and that's what I meant by just since then. It's just been rebuilding, a shit ton of rebuilding that finally came to an end. And then I hired a new PSM, and she was fully ramped up. A PSM is the same thing as a CSM, so client success manager, partner success manager, account manager. There's many names for the role, but somebody who manages your clients. We did a test with this new person where we were gonna see if we could have our partner success team or client success team also be our sales team, and make the same person be the point of contact from sale to partner management. And that was an experiment that went very well. We decided though not to continue with it because having somebody do 2 things really well when both roles are highly competitive was very tough. I wouldn't say competitive. I'd say both roles took a lot of skill and training. So having somebody get good at both is near impossible. And it ended up with them just doing sales only in the beginning, and then whenever they're busy, they're doing partner success only. So it didn't make too much sense. Then, lastly, last update for this month, I wrote a closer handbook, which was a 120-page document of everything I know about sales, so that I can build a sales org that maintains without me and that helps us ramp somebody up in a matter of a week rather than 3 months. And it's also going to help the current team be accountable. So that was a big win. Now, talking about some of the mistakes. Number one, I was too much in the weeds this month. I spent a lot of time working on small projects, things that had very little leverage, things that weren't directly going to impact the revenue of the business or profit of the business. And that was a mistake by me. So I'm working towards getting less and less in the weeds of the business. Another thing that I did the month prior to this one that worked really well was that I fully blocked YouTube on my computer. I fully fully blocked YouTube and made sure that I couldn't access it whatsoever through using the terminal. And some people would say that that's too extreme, but for me, whenever I have YouTube available, I spend time on it. And I'm more productive when I don't spend time on YouTube. So even though I lost out on a few things like not being able to watch Alex Hormozi, I still found it to be worth it. Then for Hormozi's $100 million money models book launch that he did last month, and not September but the month prior, I needed to unblock YouTube to be able to access it. And then I never blocked YouTube again, and it was fine because I wasn't using it. But then over this month, I slightly started using YouTube more and more and more until I recently, just now at the end of the month, decided to block it again. So my mistake there was unblocking YouTube and letting it be unblocked and letting a wise. I talked about vices in my last YouTube video where I talked about how vices can really kill you, and slowly it's like death by 1,000 cuts. A vice is a bad habit or a bad behavior you have that you need to pay attention to, and you need to stop that before it grows too big. A few examples of vices is drinking energy drinks, sleeping in, clicking, pressing snooze, not sleeping enough, drinking, smoking, watching YouTube, using social media. All of those are vices. Basically things that are secretly holding you back. And I unlocked a vice that I had previously killed. But I also got a whole new vice, which is that this month I spent a lot of nights staying up talking to somebody for an hour in the evening. And I basically spoke to somebody until I fell asleep, which was a bad habit of mine because that removed 1 hour of sleep from me. It also made sure that I couldn't prepare for my sleep properly. I didn't plan my day tomorrow the right way. So a lot of that, downstream impacts from just me talking to somebody for the last hour of the day until I fell asleep, which might not sound bad, but based on my routine, it's not something I should have done. Then let's talk about some learning lessons. So this one is one that I keep relearning every single month, but it's just have extreme focus on the constraint and don't work on anything else that's not the constraint. If it's not the constraint in the business, don't work on it, even if it's going to improve the business. And what a constraint is, for anybody who doesn't know, a constraint is the one bottleneck that holds your business back more than anything else. So if I say, why don't you 10x tomorrow? There's going to be one reason that you can't 10x tomorrow. And whatever that reason is, that's your constraint. So sometimes it's just about doing more. And then your constraint is just doing more. Whether it's getting more ad spend or getting more cold callers so you can do more cold outbound, whatever it is. That might be your constraint. But more commonly, you can't do more for whatever reason. And then that is your constraint. Sometimes it's lack of operations. So things break when you scale and you need to be doing too much work day to day. Sometimes it's too low of a close rate. So you can't scale ad spend because you're closing at too low of a percentage, which was my constraint for a while this month. Maybe it's show rate, maybe it's churn, whatever it is. You have a constraint. You have one constraint that's more major than anything else in the business. And you should only focus on that one thing until it's fully solved. And then when it's fully solved, you should only focus on the next thing until that thing is fully solved. Then next learning lesson is that you should always be testing creatives and ads if you're running paid ads proactively. You should never get to a spot where you're just kind of letting the ads run without testing any new ads, because the costs will go up. It's inevitable. Whether they're good or bad now doesn't matter. If the ads perform, test new ones. If the ads don't perform, test new ones. Because you don't want to reactively have to change the ads when they stop performing. You want to make sure that they're always performing. And I learned that through our ads no longer performing. And me being like, fuck, I know I should have tested new ads a month ago so I didn't have to go through this pain now. And next, also marketing learning lesson, was that sometimes it's better with more friction in the process. And friction is basically things that qualify leads further. So sometimes it's better to have ads that are more clear, have more disqualification questions, and so on. I like to look at what the big companies are doing, and a lot of the big companies, they're very upfront with a lot of heavy qualification on the front end. Next one, this one is obvious. I did this last month, so it wasn't a problem, but it was still a learning lesson where I got reinforced for how important it is, which is track your finances. Like, I should be able to ask you, how was revenue, profit, gross profit last month? You should be able to say that on top of your head through looking at a spreadsheet. I should be able to say that about last week, last month, last year, without a problem. You should be able to answer. And then I talked about vices before, but next learning lesson is, please just kill that 1, 2, 3 things that's holding you back. You have vices, like 1, 2, 3 vices that hold your life back, and you just need to kill those. You really do. And it's going to hold you back more than anything else. And oftentimes it's obvious things. It's like eating a bunch of candy, which ruins your whole fitness. And you're hitting the gym and you're doing everything healthy, but by the end of the day, you always grab a snack. And that really kills your productivity. I don't know what it is for you, but it might be something as silly as that. Find what's holding you back and just kill those things. Because oftentimes productivity isn't about adding more, it's about removing more. If you think about the word focus is doing nothing else but the task on hand. So when you want to focus better, it's not about doing more things or adding more things to help you focus. It's about removing everything that's not that one task. One of the good comedians, when he was trying to write jokes, what he said was, I don't force myself to write. I just remove everything else from my room that's not writing. And I thought that was so good. I don't force myself to write. I just remove everything else that's not writing. Think about it. If you just remove everything that's not writing on a paper, you're going to write. So that's my learning lessons from last month. Now let's talk about the goals. So goals for this coming month is sign 12 partners. So I want to jump from 9 to 12. It's not a huge jump, but I feel like we're capable of doing that. And that's also going to help with us getting more profit. So I want to double profit this month compared to last month. And I think that that's very possible. I want to maintain a 30% close rate average throughout the month. And I'm going to be able to achieve that through training, daily sales training with the team and implementing the closer handbook. And then I want to ramp up our setter, who's been a setter with us for over a year. I want to make him a closer so that he can start taking sales calls. And then probably by the end of this month, if not early November, I want to hire another 2 setters. With that said, I'll see you soon. Take care.